Now, we've got two trans crash outs to react to.
I think he's being kind of aggressive, actually.
She!
You can leave.
Get the out of my face!
Trans kids don't exist.
Ah!
Whoa, that is not true.
Oh my god, the puppet looks more
Wait.
feminine than Lilly.
But also the puppet, it's like a dead ringer for Lilly in some way, but like cuter. Hey guys, welcome back to Normal Gaze. I'm Brad Polumbo here with Clarkson Lawson.
What's up, guys? I'm getting high this weekend.
So become a channel member to join us for that special 420 episode. Only members will have access. You can support our content, our hard-hitting investigative journalism. We just did a deep dive on the worst queer TikTok beggar. And now we've got two trans crash outs to react to. So do you want to do the Lilly Tino one or the non-Lilly Tino first? Pick your poison. Are we going to react to Lilly first or this trans person crashing out at the Supreme Court?
We're going to react to Lilly last because we're going to make you guys watch the
You got to
whole
wait
video.
till the end for the Lilly.
Yeah.
It's actually like one of the worst things Lilly's ever posted, in my opinion. But first, I want to show you this video of a trans person, woman, but it's a male.
Like a cosplaying trans or a non-binary?
Just an unwell person, but it claims to be a trans woman.
Okay.
Crashing out at the Supreme Court because both sides were there, both like trans activists and, you know, the other side were there in person at the Supreme Court when they heard that case about athletes, and they had some interactions, and this was one of them.
Okay.
It got unhinged fast.
I think he's being kind of aggressive, actually.
She!
You can leave.
Get the out of my face!
Okay, turn that on. I think the problem arises when we have females that don't want to play sports.
Oh, so that clip is coming up. They played
Yeah.
the craziest part at the beginning, and now it's the start of the interaction.
Caption
Caption is, man gets triggered and becomes aggressive after being called he and male.
Sir,
It's that one is the male,
Oh.
and then that's a white ally woman.
Oh, that's a woman?
I think that's an actual woman.
Oh.
Child. Anyway, so.
Well, I just misgendered a
Actual woman.
woman.
play sports against males, and after their objection, the males are still put on the team anyway.
We're not men. We're not males.
You guys separate sex and gender, don't you?
Yes, of course.
Hello?
Do you see how muddled that is and incoherent? We're not men. Okay, kinda under your social definition. We're not males, but you are though. That's
You're
the
a
biology.
male. We're following your ideas by saying you are male. You shouldn't be offended by that. That's how you know that reality is truly what is offensive to the activists. It is not actually being misgendered. They're scared of being confronted with reality.
And they just,
That's what it is.
some of them are unstable, like
Yes.
this dude.
So then you'd have to acknowledge that you're male. And
No,
then
I will never acknowledge that. Never put those words in my mouth.
male. Why?
Never put it in my mouth.
It's giving serial killer.
No, it's giving the
It's
beginning
giving
of a porno.
school shooter.
It's never put it in my mouth.
Number
And
one,
it's like,
number one category.
Yeah. And then the Pornhub thing plays, and then somehow turns into a heavy hitter.
I don't want to see that. All right.
I'm not putting it. I'm putting it in my mouth.
Take it out.
Just so you know.
I am not.
Okay, see, this is a. This is. So I'm so sorry.
Oh my God. The thing is, I was sure this was a skit, but it's real.
Okay, I used to talk like his inflection, or sorry, her inflection.
We're using her pronouns.
Yeah, because I don't know who this is. I don't know if they're faking. trans or
I'm
not.
saying he.
Um,
That's a male.
But the inflection in the voice reminds me of when I used to play like superheroes and I was the villain. Like in my head, you're like creating this caricature of how you're being perceived.
The voices in your head.
Yeah, no, I'm saying like when you're like
Just
playing
kidding.
pretend.
Mm.
That's what she's essentially doing.
Because she is playing pretend.
It's like I'm gonna come off as I don't know. It's weird. It's
Yeah.
weird. You can tell it's very theatrical. That's the point I'm making.
I am not male.
Yeah, you're being
I am
recorded,
not.
recorded,
I don't give a.
dated.
I am not male. I am a woman.
What? Can I ask you what makes you a woman?
My mind. Even
Oh my God, no. No, it's everything in a nutshell. It's the. Oh.
Bro, it's like every day I just pray that people on the left will push these people away and they keep them around. I don't know what's happening. The Supreme Court shouldn't have to hear a case like this.
Well, this is just from protesters outside, but
No,
still.
I know, but like this shouldn't even be happening.
I agree.
No, this is not political. This is whether you have a brain or not.
Well, it is political. Maybe it shouldn't be,
It
but it
shouldn't
is.
be,
The whole,
yeah.
I mean, the 130 congressional Democrats filed briefs in support of the trans athletes' ability to play in female sport. So it is political.
Sure, that's what I meant to say. It shouldn't be.
I agree. It should be something that's just common sense that both parties can agree on. Like, okay, women's sports are for females.
Yes.
But this is the problem. This is an anti-reality movement when you're saying, I'm not male.
Yeah. And then it's like if a Democrat were to say, hey, maybe we shouldn't allow these people to have microphones in our spaces,
they'd be called problematic.
they'd be called everything. Yeah. I mean, God.
Also, it's like, imagine, that the whole scrutiny is over whether people like you should be allowed in women's spaces, and that's how you behave.
You're behaving like a tyrannical man. Sorry.
Like a man I would not want in women's spaces.
Honestly, this is like and we were talking about this before about another story before we hit record. There's something in me that sees like when trans people just like talk to women like that makes me so angry and it makes me the most transphobic that I ever can be, because it's like, okay, you are a man who is trans, okay, and you still don't get to talk to women like that. I don't know, I was raised with some form of chivalry towards women. Like as a man, you don't exert power over women when you're
screaming
confronted.
slurs at them.
Yeah, you don't do
not
that.
Swears, not slurs.
No, you can intellectually debate women as your equals, but to try to like overpower them with some form of dominance is just not cool. And whether you're trans or not, a male shouldn't do that.
And it's threatening. It's scary.
Yeah.
Like that woman is not backing down, and kudos to whoever she is. But it's like to have a large, bulky male with a deep voice yelling at you like that is a little scary, especially when they're clearly unstable.
And a hood on too. Like you're not being very, I don't know.
Implying that I'm male is an insult, and it spits in my face and that of every other trans person in this place.
So I would argue that I think women would find it insulting that male people can say that they're women by flipping their ding dong off and getting facial surgery.
I think you're being very rude.
Yeah,
I think I'm being very kind.
I'm sorry. She's not the one being rude in that interaction.
She's not being rude.
He just swore at her a bunch of times and screamed at her, and she's being a little glib about body parts.
Also,
that's not equivalent or rude.
I find it the most offensive when somebody lies about reality in my face and tries to gaslight me like what I am saying is not the truth. You're talking to me like I'm stupid. Like I can't see that.
You're insulting his intelligence.
You are. Yeah. So I find that extremely rude. But her inflection in the voice sounds autistic.
Oh, the trans ones?
I feel like there's a certain sound that autistic people have when they talk, and this person sounds autistic. I've watched a lot of autistic TikToks in the past few years, so I feel like I can peg an autistic person.
Oh,
not peg.
Okay, let's move on.
I think he's being kind of aggressive, actually.
You can leave.
Get the out of my face.
Okay.
Turn that off.
Leave.
Have a good time.
Piss off.
I just want you to understand how calm I've been this entire time and how terrible your husband is here.
I am her wife, you worthless shrew. Get out of my face.
God.
There you go.
You could not gift like anti-trans activists better content than that, and you're there to support trans rights by acting like the most aggressive male who should not be allowed in women's spaces ever.
Yeah, I like if he was in a locker room with my niece, she was in a locker room with my niece. I don't know. After that, after you speak to women that way, I'm not going to wear pronouns.
That's how an angry, dangerous man speaks to women. Yeah. So I'm not she/her-ing you, babe.
And normally the people that we react to, I think are not actually trans, but some of them are, and this person might be.
Well, speaking of trans people, who are doing the good deeds in the world that need to be done and making trans people look great, Lilly Tino is back with a puppet targeting children.
Oh, God. A puppet?
A puppet version of Lilly Tino.
Trans kids don't exist.
Whoa, that is not true.
Oh my God, the puppet looks more feminine than Lilly.
But also the puppet, it's like a dead ringer for Lilly in some way, but like cuter.
That's what I'm saying. It's like the puppet actually looks like Lilly if the facial feminization worked. Like look at the round puppet face and then look at that jawline.
Oh. I got a heart attack.
Lilly, you have the jawline that I told my doctor I wanted.
Now that's just mean.
I mean, yeah, sorry, I'm being.
But it's true.
No, Lilly Tino, we're allowed to be mean to.
Oh, I don't give a. Lily
Lily's
is
the
a
worst.
menace.
The worst.
And think about how.
But thank you for coming back online, Lily, because we're making.
Also, yeah. We all milky milk. The thing is that Lilly Tino is getting a puppet and aggressively making content towards children. That's what that is. And that's a red flag and obviously rage bait.
Do you think that in Lily's mind, this is geared towards children, or do you think that in Lily's mind, everybody is just dumber than her, so she speaks to them like children?
No, I think in Lily's mind, she knows that, or he knows that conservatives will interpret it as Lily speaking towards children and get mad. And that's all Lily cares about. It's just enraging
Rage bait.
the bad side. Some percentage of who will then sub to Lily's OF.
Yeah. Oh, God.
Oh.
Like us?
Well, we only subbed to watch it. Our members can go back and watch us watch it. That was brutal.
I had to block her out.
Oh my God. And we couldn't solve the debate over whether the cake pops have been removed or if they've just really shrunken.
They've shrunken.
But it appeared to be what was it?
Why are we going into in-depth analysis?
Donut wand with
of
no
Liliana's
cake
ball
pop.
sack.
I don't know. I guess you're right. We have to listen to Lily talk about trans kids with a puppet.
At least the puppet has a hole.
Why would your mind go there, Clarkson?
Because I'm saying, like, Lily's probably jealous of the puppet because the puppet actually has a hole.
I don't
And
like
Lily
that.
doesn't. Oh, wait, no, men have holes in their butt.
Oh my God, this is so off track.
The true. Oh. Trans kids don't exist.
Whoa,
Wait,
that is not
She
true.
did the voiceover.
Yeah, I don't believe that she's suddenly a good ventriloquist. I think she did a voiceover.
Yeah.
I'm not believing that because that's too good.
Although she did, I wonder how she got this. We should get puppets made of us. I wonder how she did it.
I bet it's not that hard. I bet you can send in a photo and have
Yeah.
someone make you a puppet.
Oh, sorry to that puppet maker.
Puppet was like, my life, but kids gotta eat.
Yeah.
2% of all kids are trans.
Yeah, and they're all.
Hold on. I question the validity of that statistic.
It wouldn't shock me if 2% of kids claim to be trans or non-binary or gender fluid or some
I think it
sort
might.
of shit.
I don't know about 2%. I think it might be like maybe 2% are LGBTQ.
No, more than that.
You think?
Yeah.
Then why? Okay.
I wouldn't be surprised if it was
2%
higher among
of
younger
how many-
generations.
Okay, but then you also, that kind of makes the argument that trans kids in sport isn't happening. Because if 2% of kids are trans, that's a lot more than 10 people trying to play sports.
There is a lot more than 10 people. That's just college. When they say 10 people, they're talking about
Sure.
college athletics. There's thousands or hundreds potentially in high school athletics.
2%? You think it's that much?
I don't find that to be that astounding a statistic.
Oh.
I'm not sure that it's true, but I mean, it's a social contagion. So
Maybe 2% in 2020, but I feel like it's probably like 1% now.
That many kids be confused.
Because they're being indoctrinated in our schools, teaching that a boy can become a girl.
You mean they're teaching kids that trans people exist?
I love when they fight with the straw man argument and they lose. Like
This is like bringing up Leanna.
Wait, Leanna does that all the time.
She's like arguing against, but she loses against her own arguments.
Yes, it is true. The fact that in so many schools they teach nonsense about gender identity, and you can be non-binary, and some boys feel like girls, plants a seed, and people have a social mind that is affected.
Yes.
Every other psychological condition in the frickin' book, we know that peer pressure and ideas and introduction can all play a role, but trans is the only one where it can't.
Well, also, I hate when they say, well, you just don't want trans people to exist. It's like, if we were teaching that trans people existed, we'd be teaching that some men or women experience gender dysphoria and they transition into the opposite sex to be more comfortable in their body. That's teaching kids that trans people exist, which I'm fine with. But teaching kids that you can choose your own...
once they're a little older, not like what age is that? I think that's not age appropriate for 5-year-olds
like high school,
or whatever. Yeah, sure. Yeah.
But the idea that is the same thing as teaching kids,
the
your gender
unicorn
identity is whatever you feel. that day. That's,
I mean, we've covered some of this, like the
Yeah.
shit they're teaching in schools. I think it
Oh,
was
it's-
Colorado that we
yeah.
covered. It's totally detached from reality, but Lily wants to pretend it's all made up and just a hoax.
And then
No.
you also have to tie in the fact that these kids believe it, and then they go to a doctor, and that doctor is now forced to affirm it, and then they get on medication that is supposedly reversible. But even if it is reversible, you just spent 5 years of your childhood with a micropenis and delayed puberty.
And one that you never
And what
go through puberty
psychological
if
what
you actually get
psychological
on it.
damage does that do to someone, which you can't really have a metric for? So it's just a whole storm, and to dwindle the argument down to we're just teaching people that trans kids exist is so disingenuous.
Mm-hmm. So it's par for the course for
Yeah.
Lily.
Just learning about trans people doesn't make you trans, though. It's not like it's a virus you can catch from knowledge. But kids' minds are easily influenced.
Thank you.
Again,
I was
listening to that puppet.
I was gonna say that. So thank you.
It's like you need to Google what a social contagion is, Lily.
I think I like the puppet. I think the puppet, Lily should adopt the puppet's mentality.
the puppet can just replace Lily.
Yeah. And then the puppet can come on normal gays.
Yeah.
And we'd have a great conversation.
But it's just like, okay, so you're telling me that the documented instances where 5 girls come out as trans or non-binary in one class, that's all just organic, right?
Yeah, it's like eating disorders.
Well, exactly, it's like that. But
They all
what do you-
get together and they just vomit together.
just learning about eating disorders doesn't make people have eating disorders.
Actually, it does.
Well, it doesn't mean you
Because
don't teach
then-
about them, but you have to be very careful in
Yeah.
the way you do it, and you don't valorize it and glamorize it, and then you don't allow the kids to treat it like a social fad.
Yeah.
And yeah,
Oh, we're learning about the disability that I have. And then they start vomiting. And then they tell their friend to start vomiting. And then what do you got? You got skinny ass little girls running around.
That's actually true, which is why it's important to show kids from an early age that being trans is normal and healthy.
Oh, so you're saying it's okay to operate on kindergartners?
Whoa, no one's saying that.
Yes, they are. I read about it on the internet.
No, gender-affirming care for kids starts and ends with hormones. No surgery.
Hormones that permanently
Let's
change
roll the
their
rest.
bodies.
Do you know what most older trans people would do to go back in time and have started hormones when they were younger?
Yeah, well, they're confused too.
You can't just call someone confused because you don't relate to their life experience.
Okay, the problem is not that older trans people, that's not who we're worried about. We're worried
That's
about people
all-
who wouldn't have been trans as adults.
how can you be a professional trans commentator and activist?
the
You're
pup-
still got it.
Puppet really let me down in that last argument.
Yeah, the puppet didn't eat at the end there.
No,
Puppet mostly ate, but so we're just lying today. I mean, it's
Yeah.
documented that, in fact, we're going to cover a topic of, I think, a 15-year-old that was scheduled to get double breast removal.
Well,
So,
Chloe Cole got that done at
Yes.
14.
and now maybe you could say those are teens, not children. Okay.
When I
and-
was 14, choosing no.
No, absolutely not. That's still really bad. And then it's just hormones is a crazy way to describe sterilizing and making sexually dysfunctional 11-year-olds for the rest of their life. If they go on the puberty blockers, never go through their birth sex puberty, and then go on the cross-sex hormones, many of them will be infertile and sexually unable to
Or
function
they'll have a
for life,
micro penis,
which would
which
mean
is
that
psychologically detrimental for a man. I know that sounds like funny, but like if you're a man and you have a micro penis, you're most likely going to have a life. I'm sorry.
And all of it is not stuff that an 11-year-old can really understand. Plus,
No.
going through their birth, sex, puberty is what would have made the gender discomfort go away in a lot of them. Now, some of it might persist, and then those
Yeah.
are the ones who might be candidates for this stuff when they're 18. But
Yeah, like Kim Petras did it when she was 16, I think. And some
mean,
people
that's a
are
little
some
too young
just-
still for me.
Yeah,
but-
yeah. But and the thing is like yes, it does work for some trans people, and it makes their lives a little bit better. But does the risk outweigh the reward of helping some trans people?
Literally
The
doesn't-
answer is no.
Lily's only thought is about trans adults who wish they could have done it
It's
sooner.
not about adults or gay people like me who literally was convinced that I was supposed to be a girl when I was like 9 years old.
You would have been put on.
I would have had
You would have.
if I had a
You would have
micropenis,
a fake neo vagina.
I
as we speak.
wouldn't be able to sell on OnlyFans.
Well, you just put a cucumber in there or something. You guys let me know what you think in the comments below. Make sure to subscribe. Do become a channel member to support our important, hard-hitting investigative journalism. And if you want to go back and watch Lily's OnlyFans, we
Oh.
did do that. So
We
if,
did.
if for some reason you're kind of up in the head and you want to go watch that, you got to become a channel member. Link in the description
Most
or
of
hit
our
the join
normies are.
button.
It's kind of funny how we call everybody normies.
And they're so
Nobody on this show.
abnormal.
We are all, none of us are
Weird.
normal.
But we're weird in a good way.
Yeah.
Unlike weird in a bad way.
That's what weird people say to themselves to make themselves feel better. Anyways, bye guys.
Bye guys. We'll see you in the next one.